We're live. I'm live. EUS Show number 27. Doing this on Friday, the 23rd of December, 2016. And Jeff's here with you. Matt is going to be here in a few minutes. He is shoveling right now because it currently is not doing it right. Well, it sort of is. It's been snowing all day here. And it's wet snow, and it's sticky, and it's deciding to make a mess of everything. So he's out doing that right now so Matt just came in, and Matt doesn't know that I've already gone live because he was out having to shovel because he was getting sued because he didn't salt and sand.
No, I was being a good Samaritan and a good citizen of downtown Illinois.
Yeah, which means he doesn't know that he's a good Samaritan. That usually means to just tell people to just say something nasty. But anyway. So.
My internet connection is not so well tonight, so I'm going to turn off my video.
Yeah, because it's because it's the media crapper internet. Yeah. Because my internet speed, my upload speed has been crap for 2 weeks. So my download's fine, but my upload's been like crap. So
my download speed has been, it's been crap too. For probably since that last big outage where the guy accidentally cut the 100-strand fiber optic cable in Swisher.
Yeah, my upload speed has been like under 1. My download's fine, but anyway, I mean, what can you do? So, but
that's internet.
Yeah, so
#world problems.
Yeah, we're all complaining about that, but because we're doing this show on Friday, like I said, because of course tomorrow's Christmas Eve, and Matt and I would rather be somewhere else than having to do a podcast.
Yep.
And we'll probably discuss what is possibly coming on Sunday.
Yes.
So, and we're going to discuss that. We're going to probably discuss the snow that came today, which is still falling because I can still see it.
Snow is still falling fairly. It's kind of strange. I haven't seen this before, or at least that I can remember. There is obviously large flakes of snow falling, and this is right outside my house. This is when I was outside shoveling the front sidewalk. There's big snowflakes falling, a little bit of liquid rain, and sleet at the same time. All three P-types at the same time.
Yeah.
I could see the little pellets of sleet bouncing off my jacket and hear them. And then every once in a while I'd get a liquid raindrop as well. So the temperature must be, I'm guessing, like 32.5 degrees.
It's been roughly between, I think, 30 to 35 all day, which is the reason why for the longest time, because it was snowing fairly decently this morning, but it never really stuck to anything because my driveway was wet until mid-afternoon when it finally started to stick my driveway. And I went out and shoveled it because I'm not going to shovel like a dusting at that point.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, so it's wet snow again, which I don't like. I don't think anybody likes wet snow. I mean, it's better. It's the snow for making snowman.
Oh, breaking news. We have breaking news right now.
Uh-oh.
Play the breaking news sounder.
We don't have one.
Oh, we need to make one. We need to make a button.
Yeah.
Apparently, the plane that was carrying the Minnesota Vikings to their game at Green Bay this weekend has slid off the runway at Appleton International Airport.
Well, we can.
More reports coming.
Well, that's part of this same storm system. So, yay. And the funny thing is, most everybody is not talking about this. They're talking about what's coming Sunday, which could be blizzard and maybe a tornado and more blizzard and maybe some severe weather. And so, because I don't want to go off on going, oh my gosh, tornadoes are coming.
The way I would word it, and I think I've been kind of browsing and trolling Twitter, not really trolling, not bad trolling, but just thoroughly going through Twitter and seeing what other people are saying and stuff and what other people are thinking, along with kind of generating my own opinion, looking at models and all that stuff. I think that it's nothing to panic about. I don't think it's, going to be one of those red letter days.
No.
But I definitely think there's going to be tornadoes. But I think Dick McGowan said it best. I'm going to quote him directly, so let me pull up his page.
And for those that wouldn't know, Dick McGowan didn't he work with Reed Timmer for a while?
Yes, he was on the TVN crew for a while, and then he's kind of doing his own thing.
Yeah, he left Reed's group when Reed was doing his own show, I believe, when he left.
Yeah, here we go. In a tweet from a person from the general public, or in reply to a tweet from a person of the general public, he says, small chance for small brief tornadoes for much of central Nebraska Christmas Day. Nothing to panic about. I think that was the best kind of way to put it. Is it going to be an outbreak? No. But
the chance isn't zero.
I think there are going to be a couple tornadoes on Sunday. There's just no way to rule it out, at least now.
Yeah.
And the models are kind of slowing it down a little bit, which could help it. It could help it in some ways. It could hurt it in other ways. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
The day of, just to really see what shakes up. But the thing that sticks out to me is well, there's two things that really stick out to me that don't make it more dangerous, but just make the possibilities of those small tornadoes more possible. There's the degree of cold air aloft. Cold air aloft is very cold.
Yes.
Compared to temperatures at the surface. That and the fact that there could be some sun coming out. In the models now, there's a fairly well-defined area of clear sky. It's not very big, but it's pretty well defined.
Yeah.
Over central Nebraska that afternoon. Early that afternoon, like noonish, we'll call it, because that's the model run that I'm looking at. And the website that I got that from was College of DuPage. So shout out to them. So I think the potential for the sun coming out and a little additional heating happening, I think could, if it plays out the way it looks on this model at this time, I think that the tornado chances could rise a little bit.
Because right now, when I've been looking at models, really look at a lot of these models because it's December. You're not going to see these CAPE values. I'm seeing CAPE values only 100 or 200. In December, CAPE of any type around here is significant. Yeah. And they were mentioning that Weather Service forecast discussions were mentioning that this is very anomalous. When you have SPC having a slight risk of severe weather in Nebraska on Christmas is a little strange. Christmas,
that is anomalous
there's
in
a
and
slight
of
risk
itself.
of like blizzards, but no, but it is it's it's funny because there's been this tweet. I think it was a thing that was done through SPC. Patrick Marsh was involved with it.
Yeah,
And
I think I know what you're talking about too.
yeah, the 64 tornadoes on Christmas. And
Yeah.
they're all like along the Gulf Coast and whatnot. And then you want to like put where the slight risk is going to be on Christmas, and it is nowhere near that. And you're thinking if there's even going to be any tornadoes, you'll look at this years and years later. Christmas Day tornadoes, you'll see all these along the Gulf Coast, and then you're going to see these all the way up here in the plains, and they don't make sense. And they're all from one day. I'm not saying there's going to be like 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, but this makes me think it's going to be similar to that event we had a couple of weeks ago that we chased and got screwed over on. Low top thunderstorms, little tiny cells that are really small. They spin up these tornadoes so quickly, and then the minute the sun goes down, they're done. They're gone. You might still have thunderstorms for a little longer. They'll be elevated. And I think that's what's going to happen in this case. You're going to have a line of, as they called it, showers that's going to blow through with maybe some thunder. Yeah. And when they blow through, the winds could kick up to 40 or 50 miles per hour. And then they die down. The storms will be, the convective showers will be moving at probably 55 to 65 miles per hour. And that's what's going to happen because this thing is going to sweep through real fast. Around here, it'll be in the evening to the overnight hours, probably 6 to midnight, maybe around here, or at least in Iowa, western Iowa. There's a chance there could be some severe weather, but
I just don't think we're going to see it because I don't think it's going to get this warm here, and B,
I'm not talking about here. I'm talking western Iowa, maybe southwest Iowa, but here, no. Maybe a clap of thunder or two, but the convective showers will come through here.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of the models are showing that convective line is going to come through. It's going to be linear as all heck. It's probably going to be like, from all the models I've seen, it's going to be like 10 miles wide or maybe 15. It's going to last like 10 minutes. The wind will kick up, and then it's gone, and that's the end of and then the cold air comes in, and then that's the end of that.
Yeah.
I mean that, and this brings up a point that this was something I thought of a day or two ago when this was starting to be like woo and exciting. I thought, what would happen? Because they've been mentioning the main threats wind is straight line wind. They're mentioning tornado because there's going to be shear. I mean, come on, please. They're shear. They're going to be shear. And I thought, here we have a line of showers. What if these showers are producing winds of 60 miles per hour? Do you issue a severe thunderstorm warning? There's no thunder, there's no lightning, but it's producing wind damage. It made me think, does the Weather Service have to go and trigger a short-term high wind warning for convective showers? If there's no thunder and there's no lightning, but it's producing 60-mile-an-hour winds, you can't issue a severe thunderstorm warning because it's not a thunderstorm.
I think they'd go ahead and pull the trigger on a severe thunderstorm warning just because that the wind being generated is convectively originated.
Yeah, I'm not, because
instead of just a general, wind event that's prefrontal or postfrontal. That's aerial. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Oh, shoot. Okay.
There's a specific term for it.
Yeah, and I can't right off the bat. I can't. But while you're trying to think of it, it made me think of this because we had a convective event that occurred like a few winters ago. There was like a line of convective thunder snow that blew through Des Moines, and the Weather Service had to trigger short-term blizzard warnings because the visibility fell to zero, lasted for about an hour to an hour and a half, and then it went away. And that went all the way from northwest Iowa down into southeast Iowa. I do remember that. And they had to issue blizzard warnings because it was a thunderstorm, but it was snowing heavily. They couldn't issue severe thunderstorm warnings for snow. I would have laughed if that happened. So they issued warnings because it was producing a short-term blizzard.
Yeah.
So that's what made me think of convective showers. If they have to issue that, I mean, is there going to be? I wouldn't be surprised if there's a warning in Iowa, especially Western Iowa, a severe thunderstorm warning at least. Maybe. I don't know. We have to wait for storms to actually form. But it's just, and this made me think of, and I tweeted this out earlier, about like a year ago today, which unfortunately was a day of tornadoes, which was that Iowa had 2 tornadoes a year ago today.
Yep.
This one in Cedar Rapids and one up in Dubuque County. And that was also the day of those that would not remember it, of Holly Springs, Mississippi, where 9 people were killed. And the other people that were killed was from the preceding tornado of Holly Springs, which was the Clarksdale tornado. Because they were from the same thunderstorm, but 2 different tornadoes, and both were deadly tornadoes. So, and then when we think about that, December 26th last year was the Dallas tornado that killed a lot of people, including a few children.
Yes.
So when you're thinking about, and this made me think when Weather Brains had Greg Carbon on, and they always tape it ahead of time because of course they're not going to have a show until after New Year's. And I'm thinking they taped Greg Carbon's show last year before the December 23rd event and before December 26th. And one of his top 10, I remember it was, there's been very few fatalities of tornadoes. And then the end of the year happened. And boy, did that have to change. And I'm thinking he was doing his top 10, which I didn't listen to because I still don't listen to Weather Brains anymore because, that's just my opinion. But anyway, it's my prerogative because I'd rather spend most of my time doing something else. Anyway, especially complaining about other people doing YouTube stuff. Anyway, but I'm thinking when there's an event coming up, and I'm even specifying now, I'm not talking about the tornadoes at this point, or the possibility. I'm thinking there's going to be a blizzard in North Dakota, which the Weather Channel could give a crap less about that. Like, North Dakota, nobody watches us there. But I mean, you're talking about there could be a big snowstorm in the Dakotas. There's already blizzard warnings in effect for Christmas Day there.
Yep.
The possibility there could be severe weather, a tornado or 2, and I'm thinking a tornado out in Nebraska. You could have a tornado out in the middle of Nebraska and nobody'd see it. Because there's a lot of that, especially in central Nebraska, is pasture land, ranch land. You could have a tornado going 30 miles and it never hits anything, except power lines. So, but there'll be storm chasers. I'm sure there will be. But I mean, you just have to wonder. It's like these storms. It's like, we gotta wait till the end of the year to get the good stuff. So, but I know that's coming up on Christmas, and this was one thing that I kind of was really just irked about a little bit. It's the models. And I could go nuts about models for like an hour, but I'm not going to. And I showed you this a couple of days ago when you were like, Christmas Day, warm weather, what? Because I sent that, to you on Monday?
Yep.
I don't remember. And then you were like, And the funny thing is the GFS caught that like a week ago, that it was going to get warm. I think I mentioned it on last show on last Saturday. That I said there was going to be this warm up on Christmas, which doesn't make sense, or some such thing. The GFS caught it a week ago, which I was surprised about. I'm like, that's not going to happen. And sure enough, models have continued to look at it. The NAM has now picked it up since it's now within the NAM realm. The European has now picked it up, and it's like all this stuff. But the thing that made me concerned about models, and this is way. It's almost like models don't do justice about this stuff. It had the temperature up in the eastern part of the state jumping into the 50s, and it was going to melt all the snow. And I'm thinking, there is no way in heck snow can melt that fast, nor can the temperature jump to 50 degrees without there being fog, because you put warm air over cold air. What happens? It builds clouds. And when cold air is at the surface, meaning snow, you get fog. When that happens, what happens? The temperature stops. It doesn't go up any further. And the NAM has caught that a little bit, whereas the GFS still says it's going to get to like 45, 47, 48. The NAM says it's only going to get up to about 40, which sounds a little bit more realistic. Because the first thing I thought of is, and I discounted severe weather here early on, because the first thing I thought of is severe weather needs warm air sucking up into it. You're not going to get warm air here because the ground has no. The last time I checked. So you would have to get rid of the snow, and some models, EFS says we're going to get rid of it all. I have a feeling if we're supposed to get a lot of rainfall amounts we're supposed to get, that we could lose probably at least 80% of our snowpack, even with the snow that's fallen tonight or today into tonight.
Agreed.
But it's going to be very. I'm just kind of like, models just don't. I think there's something that's wrong with models that don't specify that when warm air goes over cold air, especially if that cold air is snow-packed, and the models do have snow depth, and I know they do because pivotalweather.com, which I use quite often, has snow depth, and it shows that we have snow on the ground. Well, no kidding, I can see it outside. But, I mean, they just don't understand that when you put the models, and this is what leads me off on a rant, another one about, we'll just let the computers do all the work. Well, the computers say it's going to be 50 degrees on Christmas Day, and I know that's not right. That's why we need humans around, because they know that cold air over snowpack means fog, which means temperatures are held down fairly close to the dew point, which will likely be in the mid to upper 30s. I mean, and I don't have a degree in meteorology. I went to school for it, but I'm not completely stupid, and I know better than that. No, Joe Q Public ain't gonna know that. They'd know diddly squat about the weather. They'd be lucky if you tell them what cloud is that outside, and they'd be like, I don't know. Or you'd say, well, what's a Cirrus? What's Cirrus? And they'd probably say a car that used to be made by Chrysler. Or Stratus, and they'd probably say a car that used to be a Dodge, but they wouldn't say if it was a cloud. So, see, I'm going off, but not. I mean, that's because it just bothers me that some models don't take into consideration if you're going to have warm air coming, and there's cold snow on the ground, that the temperature, you have to almost cut the temperature off at a certain point. The NAM does a better job of doing that, and I would take into consideration that shorter term models like the RAP and the HRRR would do really good at it. But the GFS, I mean, the GFS can do a lot of things, but because it did predict that it was going to get this warm real fast on Christmas, but there's just certain things that are kind of irritating. And I mean, we can spend money to our heart's content to fix it, but you're always going to need to have humans around that are going to say that can't happen because it's impossible to melt 4 or 5 inches of snow in a 6-hour period. The GFS said that. So, and I know darn sight better. If we melted 4.5 inches of the snow that's outside right now, we wouldn't be giving a crud about tornadoes or stuff. We'd be worried about having flooding everywhere, because drains would be plugged up everywhere and whatnot, because it would be a disaster. We'd have flooding everywhere, and then we're going to have a flash freeze because the temperature's going to drop. And which is another thing that we're supposed to get a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of rain. That's what the weather service says for Christmas night. And then that might freeze into Monday morning because it's going to drop below freezing. So, I mean, we're just having a barrel full of fun coming up. So
I agree. It's all about the human interaction.
Yeah.
Well, human interaction with data. I think that's the most important thing. Human interaction with data is what's going to be what advances our science, I think.
Yeah. So, and we'll probably discuss this more when we get into our discussion about the new administration and what the future will be. And we'll do that after the inauguration. That's the 20th. And I think when's the 20th? I got to look up when the 20th is. The 20th is on a Friday. So we could do that on the show that we do on the 21st, the Saturday after Donald Trump becomes president. So
yes.
So we could do that, what we think the future is going to be for the next administration, because by then we're going to know more than likely who's going to be where and who's going to be confirmed and who's not and whatnot. So, but anyway, so hopefully we'll at least go further advanced. But there was another thing, and I looked this up, because this was before I started ranting about crazy people and not knowing anything, and that went off on me about the NWA meeting that's next year in Orange County that Matthew and I might go to. Matthew wants to drive there, and I think Matt's nuts.
What's that?
About driving to the NWA meeting next year.
Oh yeah.
Because and I happened to look up how far it is. 26 hours of fun. Because that's how long it takes to get there. But
if we take the right route, it's probably the best 26 hours of driving you'll ever have.
Well, I did it through Google. And I did this a few hours ago. You go through I-70 in Colorado, and I know that's what you mean.
Yes.
And this is what was funny. The halfway point, 13 hours in, I had to pretty much guess where this was. 13 hours between halfway point. Would you like to take a guess where the halfway point is?
Roughly Grand Junction, Colorado.
It's in Colorado, but it's not Grand Junction.
Glenwood Canyon.
No, but I think you're getting closer. Yeah, I think you are.
Vail or Breckenridge?
It's Vail. Vail is halfway. And I thought, I do not think Matt would want to have to drive the whole distance in one drive.
I would be more than happy to, just because A, I love to drive, and B,
Oh, good, because I looked up, we had to spend a night in Vail. We'd be bankrupt because it's expensive in September. Because I looked it up.
Oh, September? That means I could hook up a trailer to my car, and we could bring my motorcycle.
Oh, good grief.
And I could ride for a little while.
Oh, brother. That would be funny. The one thing I don't like about September is, what if there's like this freak snowstorm in the mountains?
Well, then we'd definitely be driving.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, yeah, just me wanting to drive a car with a trailer on it. So then Matt can go and ride in the hills, and then I get a ticket for driving somebody else's car.
No, you wouldn't. You have a license. Your license is valid. You wouldn't get a ticket for driving somebody else's car.
Yeah, and then they say, you stole it.
No, because that's when I would pull up and say, yeah, that's my car. Here's the proof.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but knowing you'd be driving like 80 miles. You'd be riding 80 miles an hour, and you'd be 20 miles up the road. No.
If I'm riding through the mountains, then I'm going to play it pretty safe.
Yeah.
Because I've driven through the mountains plenty, but that's four wheels. It's a whole different story on two. So I'd be playing it pretty safe.
Especially when we won't, if we were to drive there. I mean, we could fly there, but. So, because I looked that up just for the heck of it, because we'd have to decide fairly soon, probably in the next couple of months, because we'll have to probably save money up. So chasing will be like kind of, I'm not going to chase every little marginal risk next year.
Yeah, it'll definitely be one of those deals where it's where we're only chasing the higher end level events in the state of Iowa.
Yeah. So we'll see, but now I've lost track of what I was going to say now.
NWA.
Yeah, the NWA meeting. I mean, the drive would. I'm sort of like you. I like driving, but the problem is I like driving, but the minute I'm driving too long, then I'd rather be home.
What's that?
That when I like to drive, but I don't. But eventually, after a while, I just want to be back home in bed or something like that. That kind of like you want to go somewhere, and then when you get there, you'd rather be back home. I don't know what it is, because I've had that problem over the last couple of years, that I would go somewhere and then I'd be like, I can't wait to get home. That's kind of sad.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's kind of like now I have to drive all the way back. Oh my God. So I mean, I've driven back from Decatur, Alabama, back to Anamosa in one day, which was not fun.
That's a haul right there. That's a haul.
Because that was my father and I back in 2003. Because my father and I went to the Talladega race.
Yeah.
And this was funny because there was a chance that there was going to be severe weather that day, Sunday, of the race. And I knew it in advance. So I took my weather radio with me. And when we drove down, and I had my weather radio on, it absolutely poured rain that night after we got back to the hotel in Decatur, because we left the next morning. We left Monday morning at 5 something in Decatur. We got home about 6:30, and it was snowing here. And it was in the 20s. And in Decatur, it was pouring rain, and I think it was about 60. And this was in mid-April. So, I mean, I'm prepared for anything. I mean, there's been all this time when I've driven. It's almost like I'm storm chasing, but I'm not, because you know how people are always caught on the road during severe weather. They're not meant to be there. They're just driving through, and there happens to be there. I swear this has happened to me more often than not. And the one time it happened, this is what's, I think, and I have to remember this. This actually happened on the same trip, the trip to Talladega in 2003. The same thing happened then, going to the race, down to Alabama. We left here it was a winter storm. The rain was changing to sleet and snow. The roads were icy and whatnot. And we were trying to book it out of town to get ahead of the wintry weather or whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
So we booked it down past the Quad Cities, down 74. And we're listening to WMT, and they were like, oh, car accidents and excitement. So then we eventually, well, of course, can't get WMT anymore. So we got down to, and I had my weather radio, because this is where the weather radio came in again. And I was listening to the weather radio. And I think my father was driving, and we got to Peoria. And we crossed the cold front. And instead we left, and it was in the 30s. We got on the other side of Peoria. The temperature was in the 60s. And there was a line of severe thunderstorms. And we went right through it. And right to our south, they issued a tornado warning.
Oh, wow.
South of Peoria. And we actually drove right into a squall line. The tornadic cell was to the south. And we had to keep, this squall line was going through the state of Illinois. We got down to Champaign, Sky was partly sunny. And it was like 70. And the squall line was still at our west. We took 57 south. And we got to, I think, Effingham, Illinois, which is where 70 and 57 merge or come together. And I remember this. We were at the gas station, and lightning bolt hit the Best Western sign. That was probably about 100 yards away, which freaked me out. We had to then drive through the squall line near Salem, Illinois, on 57, going 30 miles an hour on Interstate 57. We got back out of the squall line, got to Mount Vernon, Illinois, where we were staying that night, and watched the squall line blow through again. So we went through that squall line like 5 times. And it was severe every time. I mean, it was just, and the next day was kind of boring, but I mean, because that was the first storm. Then the second storm came in when we were on our way, which was that Sunday, but nothing ever materialized. But the funny thing is, the only time when I went to NASCAR races, and I mentioned this before, the only time I went to a NASCAR race where it rained on race day was California. It rained in the middle. It rained in the middle of the race. It only sprinkled a little bit, but they had to throw the caution because it was raining. It actually was raining that morning when we got there. It was misting, like a heavy mist. Mist. It was like really just awful. And I thought, we're in California and it's raining. How the heck did we get this done or whatever? I mean. And this was February of 2009. Wait a minute, I'm trying to think. February of 2010.
Oh, okay.
No, wait a minute. Let me think. Because this was the first trip my dad took after he broke his hip, when he then officially retired from work. So he broke his hip when we went to LA in 2009. Yeah. September of 2009, we went to LA with my mom, my dad, my mom, and me. And then my dad and I went back to LA to go to the NASCAR race in California the following February.
Oh, okay.
February 2010, and it rained. This brings up the point of when my father and I drove to Venice Beach. I went into the Pacific Ocean. A wave came in, and it soaked my pants, and I got pissed. I do remember that. The water was cold as heck. I did not like that, but
well,
I don't know what it is.
Get slapped in the face with a 10-foot wave. You can look on the bright side in that sense. It's the very first time I set foot in the Pacific Ocean. Wait, was that the first time? No, the second time I ever set foot in the Pacific. First time was during my bachelor party when I took a cruise with my best man. The second time I set foot.
We may never know. Because now Matt's audio has just died. It's his internet. They have found him out. I think that's the only time I've ever been in an ocean. I've never been to I've seen the Atlantic, but I've never been in it. And the Pacific was the only time I was ever in. Well, wait a minute. I almost went into the ocean in the Pacific twice. Wait a minute. Maybe, no. Did I go into the Pacific when I was on Catalina? No. I don't know. I don't remember. And if Matt, if you're listening, your audio died, and I'm sure you know that. So unless you can't hear me, and then of course that's pretty much ridiculous. So if you want to try to jump off and jump back in to see if your audio will reset. So, but now I'm trying to think if I'd gone back in, or if I'd gone into the ocean when I was on Catalina. Crap, I don't remember. Well, it doesn't matter. But I'm sure Matt, if he was to come back on, because I don't know if he will now, if his audio has died or not. But yeah, I mean, it's like the weather follows me everywhere. I mean, yeah, right now I'm looking outside through my blinds. It has stopped snowing, so at least it's done that. But I mean, with all the stuff I've gone through with weather-wise, I mean, I'm surprised yet that I've not seen a tornado yet. Although I've heard one, but I've not been in to see one with my own eyes. But anyway, so I don't know where Matt went off to. He might be blabbing away about his time in the Pacific Ocean the second time, and I would take a guess, if I remember, it was probably in Australia. And he'll probably say, oh, and this and that and whatnot. So, and I'm sure Matt's telling me, trying to send me a message, because I can see he's going to try to send me a message. Oh boy, I think I'm getting kicked off. Okay. So, I mean, I'm sorry, there was a lot of things I was having to type back to Matt because, but anyway, maybe Matt will return, maybe Matt won't. We'll see. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But anyway, and that's Matt's response for those that wouldn't know. I have nothing here. So, yeah, Matt's thing is frozen, just like the cold air and like the movie. He needs to let it go. Oh God! Don't. If anybody hears this and they start, and if any person listens to this and they have young children, they just heard that and they start singing the song, don't blame me because that happened. So we'll see if Matthew can come back in. Yep, Matthew has returned.
Woohoo!
Which at this point, he probably is already blabbed the whole thing about the Pacific Ocean, and I blabbed the whole thing about whether or not my Venice Beach incident was the first time, because I was on Catalina Labor Day weekend of 2009. So
yeah, I didn't even hear any of your Catalina experience.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about Catalina Island was those villas. Oh, I would love to stay in one of those villas one time. I actually wrote a book. Speaking of this, because this is all, we're going off topic, but sort of still in. We're talking about my weather or whatnot, but I wrote my one book, which is on sale now on Amazon.
Woohoo!
Which it is, and I'm trying to think of which one it is, but I can look it up. So I'll look it up right now. And part of it is based on Catalina Island at this one house that I liked, this one villa that I walked past when I was on Catalina, because I tried to go up to the top of the hill on Catalina, which is not fun.
Yeah.
It's sort of like going up the M.
Oh, okay.
Going up 2. But then you just continued. It's like that one to the top of the M, and then you have to go up another set, like another M, to get to the top.
Oh, okay.
So it's sort of like that when you get to the tippy top. But it was, I was like, and I was like, this one house looked cool. So I kind of like did like what the house would look like, because a lot of the villas there, they have a lot of bedrooms and whatnot. But I like that house. It was so nice, but it's like $500 a day, depending on the time of the season.
Oh wow!
But I mean, the house is like, oh, so now I'm trying to find. Why are people now? Okay, now I'm going to be mad.
Uh-oh.
Supposedly, there's a bunch. Who the hell is that? Evidently, oh, wait a minute. We got it. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, this pisses me off. I've written 2 books that I've done on Amazon, and it says that I'm a practicing dentist in Columbus, Ohio.
Wow. Wow.
What? If they say
that, well, hello, Dr. Wilcox.
Well, no, wait. I want to find out. If they put my books on his site, I'm going to be mad. Maybe I've lost my money. Maybe no wonder I've got. Oh, here it is. Wait a minute. No, that's not it. What? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Stop the presses. Holy cow. Okay, we got to look at this. One of my books on. Somebody bought. Whoa, stop. What the heck? Oh, we got to see this. Somebody has my book. One of my books that I wrote. This isn't the one about that has Catalina in it. Oh, wait a minute. This is the one about Catalina. Because I forgot. Catalina is in a different portion of the book. Somebody's selling it on Amazon for $70. And now what happened is. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, he's leaving again. Okay, but anyway. Yeah, Matt left and I didn't understand this. But anyway, I can't. Somebody's selling my book for $70. What the hell? That is asinine. No wonder I'm not getting any money. What the heck? What? Oh my God! Are you kidding me? Oh my God! Well, I found 2 of my books. Yay.
So what are you oh my godding about over there?
Okay, now I went off. Okay, because you went off and I didn't know it until you sent a message. The one book that had to do with Catalina Island, somebody is selling it used for $70.
Really?
I better be getting some of that. But you can buy the normal book. I mean, the book that involves Catalina Island, which is. Oh, I like how they say best books of 2016, and mine has popped up. It's like, yeah, it was written 2 years ago. But and I can bring this up. Cheap plug. cheap plug on this. I mean, here's this because I wrote this. This is my book. This is the one I wrote. And this is the one that is not $70, except it is the same book that is being charged $70, but you can buy it only for $10. And mind you, that cover, I made that cover. And also that picture, I took that picture and then I jazzed it up and fixed it up and made it black and white and kind of like a pencil-y, artisty type thing. And then I made it cover.
That's pretty cool.
Notably speaking, what is that? The skyline of Albany, New York on an Amtrak train. Cool. I took it from the Amtrak train of Albany, New York. So, and I could tell you, but I'm not gonna. But the now I'm gonna have to look. Catalina Villas, or the Catalina house rental houses. Because the house that I know of, and I'd have to go and look this up because there's Catalina Vacations. That's probably the Hamilton Cove thing, which I don't like. Oh yes, Avalon Homes. Gimme. Because this was the house, and I'm gonna look it up. So I'm sorry that I'm going off on this because it's like whatever.
Oh, this is fun.
Come on. Is it this one? No, it's this one. Is it this one?
Let's see it.
Is it this? Well, I'm trying to find it. Come on. I don't like when websites are being slow. Hurry. Is this it? It doesn't look like it. Hello? Is this it? No, that's not it. That's No, that's not it.
Oh, bummer.
It's on the right. It's in the right place though. Up, down, 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 down, down. Is this it? I could go onto Google Maps and I could probably find it a lot quicker to find the address, and then I'd be able to look it up.
That's probably a better idea, anyways.
Come on. At this point, that's what I'm going to do, because I'm going to look it up. And then I got to go back to that website after that. Avalon, California. One thing I liked about Avalon, California, they had a cool mini golf.
A what?
They had mini golf there. Oh, so cool.
Oh, okay.
And we ate at, my parents and I ate at the restaurant that's like on a pier. And the seagulls were like just around our feet. That was creepy. That was, I love that. And my father, who, remember, and I mentioned this, my father hates going to these local places, but he actually ate there. That wasn't bad food though. Okay, now tell me where you are. Hello. Maybe you're going to tell me. Okay, now I know which house it is. Well, at least I know what road it's on. So now I can look it up.
Is this on Catalina Island?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, so now I got to go to, come on. Yeah, here it is. So I'm sorry that everybody is like going off on wondering why I'm doing a thing about a.
What's that?
That I'm sorry that everybody's going off on. Yeah, here it is. Yep, this is it. Now I wish the picture could stop rotating. Stop.
Well, while you're looking that up, I can try and talk about the possible super typhoon that is now forming out in the Western Pacific.
Yeah, you can.
That could be pretty interesting for the next probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. We're predicting it could reach Category 5+ status. I believe the name is Neon 10.
Oh, that Knock 10?
Yeah, Knock 10, that's it.
Yeah, it's Knock 10.
Which I don't remember there being many hyphenated storm names in the Pacific.
I'm wondering, let me look.
Is that a regular thing?
Is it a name that's in, because I think it's a name in it's the Western Pacific name list, and there's a lot of them in the Western Pacific that are hyphenated names. I can look that up, but I do have, well, wait a minute. Come on. But anyway, while you're doing that, I have the house in question. So
You found it?
Yes, I have it.
Woohoo!
So it's doing the thing, because if I don't, so right now it's doing this right now, which is annoying, but I can't help it. But yeah, this is the house that I based part of the book on, was this one.
Oh, okay.
Sort of. I've never been in it, but this was the house that I could see from the front, because where I took a picture from Catalina Island looking down onto the harbor. I took it from right just next door to this house.
Yeah.
And this house has like lots of bedrooms and whatnot, stairs and a lot of things. So I was doing that. And it's like I would love to have always wanted to stay in a house on Catalina because you're like away from everything. The only way you can get there is you have to take a ferry to go back to the mainland. Oh, it would be so nice just to be there. And I saw the inside of this after I had to come back home to see the inside. And it was like, oh, this looks immaculate. It's 2,200 square feet. This house, it's a rental house. It's like ridiculous. But look,
it just
looks
$2 million.
Oh, I bet. But I mean, look at the outdoor space. I mean, you get a barbecue grill because that grill is part of the rental. I mean that's because there's the front of the house, and it's a lot of open space. And you get that too. You get a golf cart.
Hey, that's good.
But yeah, that house is 2,200 square feet. You have to have a 2-night minimum. You have to have all this stuff, and I can pretty much take a guess at how much this costs. Oh, wait a minute. It's going to tell me. Mind you, if you want to stay at any of these villas on Christmas, you have to book a year or two in advance. I'll tell you what now. Right now, and I'm looking at the time frame of this house that I showed you. It is already booked solid for the month of July.
Wow.
And the first 10 days of August. It is booked for almost half the month of September. And it is booked for, it's being booked now. But January, there's only 4 days that it's filled.
Available.
Almost all of January, it's available. Almost all of February, except one weekend, is available. Only one weekend in March has been rented. It's pretty much, if you want to go now.
Wow, I wonder why.
But I mean, this is the nicest house. I mean, it's one of the largest ones that's there. I mean, so. But I don't know why we went off on that, but I just like that house because I was like, and I based a whole story off of that, which you can get on Amazon now for $10. Unless, but, wait a minute, come on, I don't want to look at it anymore. It's like I don't care. But now back to the storm names. Let me go back to that because I'm trying to give me storm names. Here we go. Yes, I don't know the Western, Eastern Pacific, Central, worldwide. Go to the cyclone naming page. That's this. Yay, storm naming. Yippee-dee-doo-doo. This takes me to the WMO, which is going to tell me if there is a bunch of hyphenated names, which it should. Eastern North Pacific, Central North Pacific, Western North Pacific. Western North Pacific, NOC 10 is a name. It's on list 5. And is the 6th one down on list 5. It was a name that was picked by the country of Laos.
Oh, cool.
The next name would be Muifa. M-U-I-F-A would be the next one. But NOC 10 is the name. There's only, of the names that are on here that are hyphenated, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. NOC 10 is the 7th of the going from list 1 to list 5. NOC 10 is the last on that list. But after that is Muifa, the Merbok, the Namadol. Boy, it sounds like drugs. Talus, Nauru, Kulup, Roki, Sanka, Nesat, Haitang, boy, brother. Naji, Banyan. I can't wait for Banyan. Can't wait for that. or Hato, which is probably how it's said because that's from Japan. So, but yeah, the ones that are like Kai Tak, Man Yi are ones. Kong Ray, Fong Wong is one that's hyphenated. Oh, wait a minute. I found another one that says, so there's 8. Infa, IN-FA. That's a name. Chowan, Maon, which was only 2 names ago. Maon, M-A-O-N, was 2 names before Knock 10. So that's what was going on with that. But yeah, there's several of them. It's funny. From Hong Kong, China, 4 of their names are hyphenated.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I'm glad I don't have to say any of these names because I can't understand any of them. So, but I know when you were speaking of Knock 10, because I know there's a tropical cyclone in the southern Indian Ocean. I think it's going to hit Australia on Christmas. And that's Yvette. And they just go from one list, and then when they get done with the list, it's like Hawaii. They just go from one name to the next. They don't start at the beginning. They just go from whatever the next name was. So they're at Yvette, which is the Y name, and the next one after that would be Alfred. So, and at least their names are at least easy to pronounce to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Alfred, Blanche, Caleb, Debbie, Ernie, Francis, Greg, Hilda, and then a name I don't know how to pronounce.
Spell it.
Ilsobel. It looks like Ilsobel.
Ilsobel.
It's like Isabel, but it's spelled strange.
Yeah, Ilsobel.
Yeah. Joyce, Kelvin, Linda, Marcus, Nora, Owen, Penny, Riley, Savannah, Trevor, Veronica, and Wallace. So that's what they have for names. So, but outside of all the excitement, what about the things and possibly going to the, I mean, I can show off, I might as well show off the Hyatt Regency, Orange County, because that's where it is. Because that's where we were going off on about, come on, I don't want to go to, well, yes, thank you, this one. Yes, this place. Okay, so this, and I've shown this before, but I'll show it again, because why not?
Let's do it.
This is where the NWA is going to be.
Wow, cool.
So there's all this fun stuff, these lovely rooms, this lovely pool, and a lovely bathroom. I'm sure that just gets you all excited about wanting to go.
No, what is getting me excited is what we could be seeing, or who we could be seeing speak there.
Well, the thing is, I when I went to Oklahoma City, and I mentioned this on all the polygons that I did when I was there, I saw Doswell. It was easy to see him. I mean,
you cannot miss Doswell.
Yeah, I saw him lots of times. I saw so many people. I actually saw Greg Carbon get drunk. But I saw Patrick Marsh, who I ended up getting him as a guest because of the NWA meeting. And I might mention that he's going to be WCM of SPC on Christmas. That's why there's going to be severe weather on Christmas. They knew Patrick Marsh was starting work then.
Yep. Bingo.
So I'd almost have to say a snide remark to Patrick Marsh saying, yeah, it's severe weather on Christmas. I wonder why. Oh, that's right. You're starting work as WCM. So
it's only fitting.
I kid because I care, but I mean,
it's only fitting that he that he have a bit of a trial by fire on his first day.
Yeah, because then he could probably take a break for like a month before the February Fun Fest of the Gulf Coast begins. So, but as of anything else, I don't see anything else to discuss at this point. We have to just wait to see what Sunday's going to bring. And
I'm sure it will be talked about in the media.
And they'll go, oh, there was no tornadoes. Oh, you were hyping it up. Or, oh, there was tornadoes. You didn't warn us.
So weird, tornadoes on Christmas.
Well, not weird. Weird for where they might occur is weird. Not necessarily odd. Given that there's been tornadoes on Christmas at Mobile a couple years ago. Didn't Birmingham have one 2 years ago? That Spain got yelled at for because wasn't it last year?
That was Mobile had a tornado 2 years ago on Christmas.
No, Mobile's tornado was Christmas 2012. Birmingham had a small tornado that James Spann got yelled at because he was covering up NBA basketball, and there was a tornado on the ground in the suburbs.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Wasn't that last year?
Last year, yeah, that was last year.
Yeah, because last year was just tornadoes every 5 minutes from about the 23rd when we had our tornadoes here at Holly Springs. It was like 4 days of tornadoes. Like, oh, we haven't had enough tornadoes. Let's plop a bunch down. So,
yep.
Oh, and I might make a mention that, and for the fact that Iowa has only had, I think, 38 tornadoes this year. So
now you're gonna jinx it saying that.
No, because I make a mention because they haven't popped up or put in the tornadoes that occurred a couple weeks ago. I've already added them in, but the Weather Service hasn't added them in yet. The Weather Service Des Moines, which does the tally for the state for tornadoes, but I already have added the ones in because they only say we've had 34, and I've already added the 4 that they've already counted for I think it was the 30th of November, but so. I mean, that's going to be a year. We might do a year in review, but that's going to depend on if we're not going to have some crazy weather again between now and whenever. So.
Oh, I have a guest update.
Uh-oh.
And this is a enormous UFO supercell guest update, not a Polygon guest update.
That means the Pecos guy.
Yes, Pecos Hank Skyma. He is currently doing some reptile filming stuff in Taiwan. He will not be available until after the first of the year.
I thought you were saying, he's in Taiwan now. It's like, okay. You got to make money somehow.
Well, that's his other passion is animals and specifically reptiles. He's really, really huge into snakes. And I've been watching a lot of his snake videos, and he's a pretty decent. He's very well versed in the handling of reptiles and all that fun stuff. So I bet he's down there having an absolute blast.
Yeah. Speaking of reptiles, which speaks to animals, which speaks off another topic, I don't know what the heck is going on the Collins Road bypass by the Menards in south side of Marion. On that cornfield across the highway from where the furniture row is and whatnot.
Okay.
You go by there during the day, you're going to see a ton of deer.
Yeah,
all the time.
That's always been that way.
Yeah. Yesterday, my mother and I were driving back through there. Not only was there deer, there must have been at least 20 deer eating. They were joined by about 8 turkeys that were there, and the deer weren't scared of them. They were just there together. And I'm thinking, if the deer and the turkey get together, what would they make? A mess.
A turkey.
A turkey or a turdier or turrier or whatever. Turkeyer, whatever.
A turkeyer.
Yeah. A turkeyer. That would be kind of strange. I don't think I'd want a turkey that has antlers, but
a turkey with antlers and 4 legs. That gobbles.
And it still gobbles.
Yeah,
And it runs across the road. Why? To get to the other side. That's
bad
not.
comedy here on the enormous UFO Supercell show.
Yeah, we're here every week.
We're here every week. Be sure to tip your waitress.
Yeah, I have to make my dinner after this, so I have to be that. So
I am too. My dinner's actually cooking as we speak.
Yeah, because I'm in my bedroom. I'm in my living room right now. Because right now I'm soaking my dishes so that I can clean them, so then I can use them to make my dinner.
I'm currently doing my dishes.
Yeah. So if there's nothing else, next week we may or may not be doing the show whenever we're doing it. I don't know.
Who knows? We'll see. Depends on how much food I eat this Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to depend what we do. If we're going to do it maybe on Friday again next week, since Matt's going to want to go out and get himself drunk probably or something on New Year's Eve. Because I'm going to be spending New Year's Eve babysitting. So that's the reason why we can't do it on Saturday anyway, because I'm babysitting that day or that night. So we'll see you then for our last show of the year, where we'll probably do something crazy. Oh wait, that's every day and every show. So
that's every show.
Something normal. So maybe we'll talk about hotel reservations or whatnot. I don't know. So or airline flights. I could go off on that, but before we go, I'll wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever. I'll piss off somebody. So, yeah, that. So
I'm going to end this with a rant. We're not done quite yet.
Uh-oh, he's on Merry Christmas now.
No. A little bit of a rant.
Uh-oh, here we go.
This is stemming from, and I wanted to wait to the very end because it has nothing to do with weather, but I wanted to put it out to the world and put it on record. Did you hear, Jeff, about the video that MTV News posted a couple days ago?
Probably not, but you'll probably tell me that it's probably bad.
Yes. There was a video that was put out by MTV News, and all the further I will get into it is the title, as far as what was actually said. The title of it was, "White Guys, we've come up with some New Year's resolutions for you."
Okay.
Now.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I'm all for having differences of opinion, differences in thought, differences in political alignment. That's what this country was founded on. That's our founding principle. We are a melting pot of different people uniting in this big experiment called America, right? Okay.
Oh, dear.
The things that were said, and you could search YouTube for it. There was a very large group of Facebookers that most of them also happen to be veterans, called the Drinking Bros, which I'm a member of said group on Facebook.
Yeah, because that's the podcast that I heard when we were coming back from somewhere. I don't remember where, but
yes, we were coming back from a chase. It was a Drinking Bros podcast.
Yes.
That a lot of them went on to MTV's YouTube channel, onto their website, and other various social media and internet sources or platforms where MTV News has a presence, and basically bombarded them with negative comments so much that MTV was forced to take down the video. But there were people that were able to download the video before it was permanently deleted. So you can go see it. You can find it on Facebook. It's not that hard to find. It's still fresh enough in the news. But I won't get into the topic for yourself, but I think this topic and this subject has a little bit to do with weather, because it could have something to do with the people that run with different weather entities, be it the National Weather Service, private companies, i.e. an AccuWeather or something like that, Weather Channel, things of that nature. Like I said, I'm all for differences of opinion. That's how we as people and we as a country stay current. That is how we advance ourselves as a society. But when you say the things that are said, even in jest, it takes us back a peg or two. It's really pretty shameful that people would actually go forward with making such a video. It's pretty, to me, what it does is it takes away probably 20 years worth of downright fighting for equal rights for all people, from all walks of life, all colors of skin, everything. All of the work that's been done for the last 20 years has almost been erased because of this one video. And that's pretty despicable. And I think that, and the point is, I think that in light of this, step back, and especially during this holiday season, we need to take a step back, and we need to realize just how far we've come. And we need to realize that regardless of somebody's inclination, their sexual inclination, their color, their political alignment, they're still a person. They still have a second set of eyes. They still have a different point of view. And anytime, especially in the science community, anytime you have a different point of view or have a second set of eyes looking at whatever you're looking at, you have a better chance of solving whatever problem you are solving. And if you let biases get in the way of that, then all you're doing is hindering yourself and your group and people in general. This whole thing, this whole realm of science revolves around one thing: the scientific method. And the cornerstone of the scientific method is looking at a problem, looking at a subject without bias.
Yeah. Or not going into it with an assumption.
Yes. You're looking at a problem. You're looking at a science problem, whatever it may be. You're looking at a science thing without bias. Now, granted, everybody has some sort of bias because not everybody has every bit of experience that a human being can possibly experience. Nobody has a sum total of 100% of the human experience. It takes different people to bring that sum total up to 100%. It takes a group. And if you let yourself in the science community, if you let yourself introduce bias into your own brain, into your own heart, into your own mind, into your own body, then all you're doing is hurting yourself and hurting others. And the only thing that's going to represent in your work is garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. Just like a computer. If you program garbage, you're going to get garbage out the other end. Period. So stop. This holiday season, when you're sitting around opening presents and having Christmas dinner, think about that for a little bit. Here we are, 2016. This video's out, and some people have just regressed 20 years just for it coming out. exercise your right to free thought. Now, I wouldn't consider myself a free thinker. That's not what I mean. What I mean by exercise your right to free thought is keep your mind open. Because somebody out there sometime may have just the answer that you're looking for, but they might not agree with you. And if you let that disagreement get in the way, you're not going to have your questions answered. So think about that this holiday season. Let's start 2017 just being happy, being a good person, showing up to work, working hard, knowing what hard work is, and being good and having an open mind. Because that is what is going to solve our problems going forward. And there's a lot of things in the weather community that we have to figure out. There's a lot of stuff that we still have to figure out. Meteorology is by far a perfect science. So we need more people in the mix. We need more people doing more things in order to make this a perfect science, if that's even possible. But I know that's what we as an enterprise are striving for. But just think about that. Just mull it over in your head and don't let bias and all that crap get in your way, because it's going to do nothing but hurt. And that's all I got to say about that.
Well, now I feel bad that I want to get mad at people who don't play games properly on YouTube.
Play games?
Yeah, back to the game that I mentioned last week. Oh my God, these people. I mean, and I keep an open mind because I'm not the type of person to go, I got a comment. Because I'm like, I'd rather keep my comments to myself, because I'd rather keep an open mind to a certain point, thinking I'm hoping they're going to fix it, or I'm hoping they're going here or wherever. And if they don't, I just get mad and throw a hissy. But I don't do it in public. And too many people are like, I got a comment. Rah! You took my soap opera off. You had to be on severe weather. Blah, I gotta make a comment.
Well, here's the thing. There's a difference between having a comment and having an opinion, and
I don't think
trolling.
People know the difference half the time.
There's a difference between just trolling, which is what I think MTV was doing. But
before you go off on that, MTV is a piece of junk anyway, because all the news MTV News, and I very rarely watch cable anymore because I don't know why I have cable, but MTV News, I'm like, they're trying to like, look at us, we're MTV. I'm thinking MTV was supposed to be music videos. I don't think that, almost similar to the Weather Channel, was supposed to be 24-hour weather, and they went away from that. MTV hasn't been done videos 24 hours a day since like 1987 or 88. I mean, MTV lost a long time ago. So anything they put up, I mean, as bad as stupid as it sometimes is.
And that's why I didn't want to go too far into the body of the video, because it's bad enough in and of itself. And if people want to find it, they can. They can go to YouTube. They can go to Facebook. You know, there's places where it's been reposted. But the reason why I'm not bringing it up in that sense is because MTV is not a viable news source. If anything, they are a trumpet for the left. For the extreme liberal.
Well, they're more for people that are like the hipster, let's rock and roll type people. I'm not sure it would always be people liberal.
No, it's
always
very liberal
that way because they're from California.
No, they're headquartered in New York.
Well, most of the people are like Hollywood, LA, woohoo!
But I've done my homework. I've watched a lot of their videos since this other video came about earlier this week. I did my homework, and I have went back and I've watched tons of their news report videos over, say,
what they
say
call
the last 6 or 8 months. That's the kind of sample size I have for their videos. And they are very, very left-leaning, very liberal. They appeal greatly to that hipster community, like you put it. That's what they're trying to go for.
Yeah, they're not after the 60-year-old.
They're not after, they don't have much of a conservative audience, but I don't think they're very valid because they're appealing to that. When that demographic ranking anyways, and they're still trying to go after it. And because of that, their news reporting is not very accurate, which means that their credibility is extremely low. So they're not even recognized as a real news organization.
Yeah.
And if they cannot put out trustworthy news content like they say they want to, I mean, it's MTV News.
Yeah, and this could get into the fake thing that's been flying lately.
That's kind of along the same lines that this is getting at. They're not really faking news completely like some Facebook.
It's like the National Enquirer type thing.
Sort of, yeah, in a way. But they're doing stories. They're inflating up news stories to appeal to the demographic that they are trying to shoot for, which is extremely very hipster words to really describe it. They kind of narrow it into that category. Otherwise I'd say them. But they're not a very credible news source anyways. So why put much emphasis on them? And that's why I'm not describing the video tit for tat, because provide unbiased reporting. They don't provide solid news sourcing. They don't really do much. They don't fact check. They don't go after the truth. They go after their truth, which a lot of times is far different from actual truth. And that's where they're at. And I don't think it's right. So that's all I have to say about that. I think we need to sign off because my dinner is about 3 minutes.
Yeah, so we'll get done, because otherwise I would probably go off on more stuff, because I mean, we could go off on this. We might discuss this again next week. Yeah, because I mean, I've been some fallout for another hour, but we'll let Matt eat. So I can
again next week. Fallout is far-reaching.
Yeah, because I mean, I could go off with MTV News would be on the same as BuzzFeed. They have news now. I'm like,
yes, BuzzFeed.
All it is a bunch of people in California getting high. But I digress. I want to try to get Matt so we can actually eat. So we'll leave it here, so we're not going to piss more people off, because we probably already did. But so we'll see you. So we'll see you next week.
And everybody that.
Yeah, I don't know what Matt said because his audio is starting to cut out, so it's probably the time for us to stop. So I'll let Matt eat. I'll go wash my dishes. I might shovel my driveway sidewalk and whatnot. So we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays.